All right, y'all. Today, going live again. This time, going live with Joshua Gallegos. We're just going to talk about his recruiting story. So normally, what up, Juan? Normally, it's like a specific topic, but today, mostly just going to talk about his recruiting story because I think hearing people's stories, talking about them, you can learn some stuff from them, and just good to hear and just understand, how people got where they are. He's going to be playing NAIA next year, so this should be interesting. So, guys. All right, he's joining right now.
Yo,
What's up, man? How you doing?
what's up, bro? How are you? Oh, whoa, bad angle. Hold up.
I'm pretty good. How about you?
Back a little. Yeah. How are you? Everything good?
Yeah, doing good.
Chilling? That's what's up.
Yeah, what about you? Oh.
Yeah, man. I mean, everything good. Down here in Florida, the cases are kind of getting a little bit more high. Not gonna lie, but parks are still open, so taking that to advantage. Still training, doing what I can, just going at it.
Yeah, same here. It's getting worse, but just been training by myself mostly anyways, so
I feel you.
as long as they keep the parks open, we'll be good.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so before we get into it, could you just introduce yourself, your name, age, position, and then what school you're going to be playing for next year for us?
Yeah, of course, bro, for sure. So, what's up, guys? My name is Joshua Gallegos. I'm 19. My main position is a winger, but I could play midfield or fullback. And I'm going to be going to a school in Oklahoma called Bacone College, and they play in the NAIA division.
All right, so I said at the beginning, but today we're just going to be talking about his recruiting story. And, if you guys in the chat watching live have any questions, just comment them and we'll answer them as we go. And then, if I have any, I'll probably just throw them in there as we go. So
Sure.
if you could just start, you can just start all the way back when you first started playing soccer, or if you played another sport first, and then just work your way up until now, heading into your freshman season.
For sure. So, actually, I'm going into my sophomore season. I forgot to tell you that. But
Okay.
along the way, I'll mention why, what happened there. But
Okay.
so yeah, I started soccer at a really young age. I want to say maybe at 4. I played for like a local club where I lived at. Played there, I want to say until 10. And then I really got into basketball. So I played basketball from 10 to 12. And then, it was kind of time to decide, all right, which one are you better at? Which one do you like more? Which obviously was soccer. So then from 13 all the way until now, just been grinding it, playing soccer at the same club. So, yeah.
So, and you mentioned some interesting things too when we were talking the DMs and stuff about where you'd been, where you played. So, like you said, you pretty much played the same club up until you signed.
Yeah, so like I said, I played basketball until 12, but then from 12, so U12 into U17, I played at a local club, which obviously it wasn't like the best top club in the state or anything, but it was a well-respected team, well-known, all that. So, when you go to tournaments, like, scouts and people like know your team, all that. So I stayed all the way there into U17, but then I got presented with an opportunity, my last year club on U18, because I'm pretty sure you know how that happened. I forgot what year it was, but like basically 2001s can only play with 2001s, 2000 was 2000s. So my team split the year before that. So U18, I was fortunate enough to go to another team, another club. It was a little farther, so it was a sacrifice. But mainly the two reasons I decided to join this team were A, being they had a UPSL team, so I guess you can say I was like in the U18 youth team, if that makes sense. And then B, they actually had a great opportunity, a tournament in South America, in Colombia, actually, where I'm from, where my family's from. So, I mean, you hear about tournaments all the time out of state, but nothing out of country, so I knew I had to take that opportunity.
Yeah, that's really cool and really interesting. So, basically, it was your club was affiliated with UPSL, and then you're kind of like the club was kind of like a feeder, so they wanted to try to work you guys in
Right.
to
Exactly.
eventually play with them.
Yeah.
And so about that tournament in Colombia too, how did that work? You know, what teams did you play? How was that experience?
It was a crazy, but like at the same time, really dope experience. I can't lie. First time obviously like flying with the team, like on a plane, you know. So that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, also like a really good thing about it was I actually had family over there. It was in a city where I had family, so got to see some family, which was obviously cool. But yeah, on the soccer side of things, it was dope. We got there, and it was a 3-day tournament, but you played 4 games, so 2 on 1 day. Um, we played, I think it was two local teams from Colombia. When I say local, I mean like from the country, right? Like for different cities. And then we actually played a team from Italy and the team from Chile, from South America. So a lot of different culture, a lot of different play styles, and just great experience overall.
So, were the teams you play in all other like uh, high level youth clubs and teams, or like
I mean,
academies, or what?
yeah, for sure. Okay, so the Italy one was actually an academy. So it was based in Italy, and it was a kind of tournament, I guess you can say. Because the year before that they hosted it in Italy, but I don't know what happened, so they hosted it in Colombia that year. Anyway, it's kind of like an academy, but how can I word it? Like kids from all over the world were like in that team. It wasn't like just Italian kids, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. It was just based in Italy. So when I asked some kids around, there were actually some kids from that team that were from Colombia, from Spain, from England. So it was really dope. But the other teams were just like local good clubs from the country, I guess you could say.
And was that tournament a really big thing, like for recruiting to say to coaches, like I played this tournament in Colombia, and you got like good
Yeah,
film?
yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, you always hear of like known big tournaments here in the States, but like for you to have the experience to tell a coach, I played out of the country, that's obviously a great thing and something that they really, at least for me, they really enjoyed and they really, took into consideration.
Yeah, for sure. And talking more about the college side of it, when did you decide you wanted to play college soccer?
Um, yeah. So when I decided I wanted to play college soccer, I want to say end mid to end of junior year. At the time, obviously, I didn't know that it was going to be my last year at the club that I was playing for forever. But I just decided to work hard after. I'm like, yo, you know what? Like, I really want to do this for college. Me, my parents, my brother, we put so much time into this, and if I think I'm at the level that I could be, like that I am at to play for college, why not go for it? So, that's what I did. Like I said, I took the opportunity to go to this other club senior year and like U18 last year club. So it really, really helped. And like I said in the DMs, by no means do I consider myself a UPSL player, but I did get two guest player games. Like I played 2 games in the UPSL, so that for that to put it in my CV and to have that experience was surreal. So
Yeah, that's that UPSL experience really really good, especially when you get that before heading into college, because then you just get more of a taste of what college and semi-pro is like. So, when you decided you wanted to play college soccer, was it like at that moment you started? Was it more of just training harder, or did you also like start contacting them as soon as you like made up like I want to do this? Um, how did that work as well?
yeah, so I mean, in my eyes, I think everyone has a different recruiting story. Not everyone's is going to be the same. For example, for me, I never even played varsity. I actually only focused on club. So the way I like reached it, like got in contact was obviously with NCSA. Pretty sure you use NCSA as well, right? You have a whole video on that. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean NCSA, I personally like really enjoyed it. Shout out to my brother because he's the one who paid for it. But I really enjoyed it because like the plan and like the money you paid for it, like and everything they give you, like I think is like golden. Like obviously the main thing is that NCSA can make a highlight reel for you if you don't have one already. So if you only have small YouTube clips or whatever it is, they can obviously make something for you. And obviously you can email the coaches, all that stuff. So I used the NCSA, racked up some interest, racked up some offers, and basically that's how I got to my first school, which was actually out there in Arizona. I know you're from there, so it was actually out there in Arizona. So, but yeah, that's how I got into college and how I got into contact with coaches and all that.
So you did start doing that, like the end of your junior year was when you started reaching out through NCSA. And,
so yeah, end of junior year, I was really determined for it. And then summer going into senior year, beginning of senior year, I learned about NCSA and I told my brother, I'm like, yo, like, can you help me out? And he's like, yeah, I mean, if you're serious, then I'll help you out. So beginning of senior year, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty much the same timeline for me because I knew pretty much like beginning of my junior year, like I want to play college soccer and I know I can do it. But then it was just kind of like, wasn't really sure how to reach out, how to do this. Then it wasn't until, like the beginning of my senior year, I really like on a big scale was reaching out to schools, and I did do most of it through NCSA. I want to show people how to do it on your own, because it's expensive, and
yeah,
it's definitely a good way to do it. But yeah, it's expensive, so it's not for everyone. And if you can do it on your own, do it on your own.
for sure.
So, how many schools do you reach out to? What was your like criteria between choosing and narrowing down? Like division, location, different things like that.
I hear you. So basically for me, which is also the other great thing about NCSA is that you can literally like search for what you want. So for me, I'm very determined. So I didn't really care what state it was in. I just basically put like the tuition that I know I could like pay for, and hopefully like take a scholarship into perspective, and then a school that had my major, and
Oh,
obviously what's it called? So obviously I know like just to be real, I'm like not gonna go for D1 or like D2. So I just put what I wanted to major in, how much money I could afford, and then put D3, NAIA, and JUCO, and press search, and the amount of schools were endless. I didn't think that there were going to be that many. So basically, that's what I did. And like I said, I'm determined. So I literally emailed every single one. Um, got a good amount of responses back. Like I said, I got interest, a lot of interest. But when we're talking offers, I had two JUCOs, two D3s, and two NAIAs. So 6 in total, which was decent. And when you say narrowing it down, ultimately, I was thinking to do JUCO 2 years, and then hopefully gain more experience, become a better player, and maybe go D2, D1. But I didn't do that. I ended up going NAIA to a squad in Arizona, like I said, mainly because the tuition was very cheap. And obviously coming from Florida all the way out there, that's like, a big move. So my mom was really comfortable because I actually have family out there. So that's mainly why I chose that school.
okay, yeah. You emailed every school you could find in the country that had your major. That was D3, NAI, and JUCO.
Yes, basically, yeah, and an affordable tuition. A
Jeez.
lot of emails, yeah, bro, a lot. But you know what? At the end of the day, it was worth it.
Yeah. Do you know how many? How many would you estimate, like number of schools?
Um, I'm not gonna lie. I want to say I think NCSA does it like 10 per page, and there was like 18 to 21 pages. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah,
Wow.
there's. I think that's a good point you brought up because a lot of people make the mistake of thinking I'm just D1 or D2, and you know, um, and then there's so many. There's hundreds, like over 300 D3 schools, I think, in America, and then JUCO. There's hundreds of those schools. NAI, I'm sure there's hundreds of schools in that division as well. So you're really just throwing away opportunities if you think I'm too good for these divisions.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's nothing wrong with JUCO, NAIA, or D3. Obviously, NAIA, it's like not in the NCAA, sorry. It's a lower division, but still, I mean, treat it like a real thing, because at the end of the day, it is a real thing. You get me? You're playing 4 more years. And who knows? Maybe someone could see you and you could play NCAA, whatever division it is. And I mean, JUCO, the deal there. You do 2 years, and usually you transfer to a better 4 year institution, better level of soccer. But how about you, bro? I know you play D3. Obviously, D3 is academic scholarships, not athletic. So, what made you choose that D3 school?
You said why did I choose it?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I had a much narrower list because I was a little bit more picky, and at the time I was thinking I don't want to go too far from home. So that was like I narrowed down a few states. So then, I emailed all of them. That came out to be like 85 or so schools, and I just emailed every division except JUCO because I thought, I just want to go to a 4 year right away. And then so choosing it, I got, like you said, there's a fair amount of interest, like fair amount of replies, and a few that were like hinting, like, okay, we can offer you something athletic or this, and then I emailed them back, interested, and then they didn't reply or something happened. So in the end, the actual like offers or like coaches that were like persisting, because D3 they can't like really offer you more than a spot on the team. So I had in total. And there were a few like East Coast too that I kind of said like they came out to me first, and I was like, I don't want to go that far away, or they didn't have my major. So out of the schools like I would have actually considered, it's probably less than 5 really that were like seriously interested. And again, and then some of those myself, I was like, well, I want to like in my own state. I had an NAIA, and I was like, I want to go to another state, and they didn't have my major either. So it really was the main like choices were between my school, Shriner University, which is a D3. There was a coach at Park University, Gilbert, which is an NAIA here, and they. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, they offered me to go there, and it was a pretty good offer as far as like relationship to how much school cost.
Yeah.
But that's only like 40 minutes from my house. So I was like, I kind of want to go to college to like get a new experience.
100%.
So that was like my one like real solid offer. And then I think there was a D3 in Texas as well, but the communication with the coach was just not there. And Shriner was just, I have family like 40 minutes from there. And the coach was just like all the coaches like most consistent with communication, and I had a pretty good visit there. So with the family being close, the coach like taking real interest in me, and then it was like it's far enough away that I'd be getting something totally different and new, but it wasn't like I'm on the other side of the country. So I think, it was like it wasn't. I'm not gonna lie and say it was my absolute first choice if I had the choice to go to school, but it was a good opportunity. And he said like, we're not afraid to play freshmen, and you just got to prove yourself. There's none of this like red shirting or this or that. So I liked how the coach was really interested, and family close by, and it was it's reasonably priced for at least for the scholarships that I've got. So those are kind of the factors that I chose to go with my school.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, like I said, everyone has their own different story, their own different path, but at the end of the day, you do what's best for you. So,
what about you? What was your going to Park University, Gilbert? What was your decision making going there?
So basically, like I said, I mean, obviously, didn't know it was Park University, Gilbert, but ultimately, the decision that made me go there was having family like 40 minutes away, the tuition being under 12 grand, and the scholarship of X amount. I don't know if I can say it, but obviously that bringing it down, and obviously FAFSA government. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was barely paying anything. But anyway, those two really played a factor, right? So it just came down to the decision, yo, dude, like I really want to go all the way to the West Coast, like to the other side of the country. And I said, yeah, because another big factor obviously was it was a new team. So I was thinking, hey, I mean, obviously they're not going to be the best, but the amount of experience that I can get playing the colleges that I'm going to be playing. And obviously, if you're from Arizona, you know, like schools like Embry-Riddle, Ottawa, Arizona Christian, like
They're
top.
solid, yeah.
Like they were good, bro. So like the experience I got from them was insane. So when it came time to like, should I stay here another year or transfer? I decided to transfer just because complications. But I wouldn't see it like as a, because you know people when like that happens, like they don't get the results they want. They would like think negative and be like, oh well, I just lost a year of eligibility. Like, but the way I thought of it was just like, I mean, experience at the end of the day, you know. I mean, I didn't really lose. Like, I still got a scholarship to go play college soccer. You get me? And now I just feel like I'm a better player, and hopefully I can bring that to this next school.
Yeah, that's a good mindset to have. Was Coach Ben Sanchez the one that was talking to you and recruiting you?
Yeah. Ben, I'm not gonna lie, he was a good recruiting wise coach. He knew what he was saying. Practice wise coach knew what he was doing. Like I said, I just he took a lot of chances on freshmen. My whole team's freshmen except I think like one keeper.
Yeah.
So obviously that comes into play, right? So I mean, I wouldn't say he was a bad coach. He was a good guy, good coach. Just when you have freshmen and you're playing like really good teams, the results aren't always going to be good.
Yeah, it's in some ways like looking back because ACU was actually they texted me. I think it was either right before I committed and signed or after, and the coach is like really interested, but they didn't have my major, and that was like one of the biggest things. Like no, and then I saw last season they were ranked like 18th in the country and for a while, and in Ottawa I went to a camp there as well, and they've had a really solid team even since their first year.
Yeah,
And they got a lot of players on that roster too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that competition would be good, and all freshmen going up against guys. I mean, Ottawa has players from Egypt and London,
Yeah.
and they're 4 years older than you.
Yeah,
But,
their keeper at the end of the game, like he was like 26 from Brazil. I was like, yo, that's insane.
yeah, when I went to a camp there, we were playing like and training with other players, and one of the guys is like 29 years old, and we call him all pops. Like, geez.
That was crazy. I know.
So, and now you said you're going to Bacone College in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah. So right before all this coronavirus thing was, became a whole crazy thing. I actually, during my spring break, went to go for a visit. We were in talks, and like I said, like how you said, actually, you can like see and like tell when a coach is really interested in you. So just nonstop texting, really trying to figure out when I could go for a visit. Luckily enough, like I said, right before the coronavirus really became serious, I went for a visit. I really loved the school, had my major, the coach was dope, and I met some of the players. And another thing that really caught my eye was that the players a lot of them were international and like not all freshmen. Mm-hmm. So that was obviously like really good. So, I mean, basically that's what caught my eye, and I went back home, and like when I literally mean like right before the coronavirus, bro, like I went from the visit back to Arizona. I stayed a day in Arizona, and then the next day I caught a flight back to Florida because the coronavirus was like super serious. Like, yeah, a lot of flying. So, but basically I've been here since March, and I committed like not too long ago, like a month or two ago. So, but yeah, everything's good. Like I'm really excited.
Where's your family from Arizona? Like, what city are they in, if you don't mind?
They were in Buckeye.
Oh, okay. I think that's Buckeye. Is that near Chandler or Gilbert? You know?
No, so the school was in Gilbert, and Buckeye I think was like all the way west, like.
Oh yeah.
Glendale, yeah, around that area.
Yeah, I think that's also would be like 45 minutes from where I live as well. Yeah, that was just something about Park University, and then even ACU as well. It's like it's that like awkward distance from my house where it's like an hour. Like if I try to drive, but then it's like, is it worth paying all that money to like stay on campus or an apartment?
Yeah, I get you.
So another, like you said, transferring to an NAIA, was that a difficult process, complicated? How did that work? Because that's like a whole nother process in itself. And I've heard from players that can be, if you're not making like the right decision, it can be really complicated and sometimes not worth it if you don't really consider it and like think about it. So um, how did you for sure like make the decision, and then how did it work? Like paperwork, getting all the like things figured out about classes and credit hours and the team stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah, those people were telling the truth. It's complicated, bro. So honestly, another like I should get sponsored by NCSA. Another great thing from NCSA was that after I finished the payment, I could still use it. So that's actually how I found this school. I did the same thing. I just looked up NAIA D3 JUCO under a little bit more tuition and a little bit more tuition and the major, and that's how I found the school. So that's how I found them. I knew that it was like an option. And then once I went to the actual visit, I said, all right, let's do this. So coach put me in contact. And then when it comes down to transcripts, this is like really important. Make sure that at least, I want to say 60% transcript. Thank God for me, it took 30 credit hours and 27 transcripts. Only one class didn't transfer. So like that was really good. But that can definitely cause problems because let's say you take 30 and only 15 transfer. It's as if you didn't even take a whole fall or spring semester. So definitely take that into consideration when if you do transfer. Paperwork wise, nothing too hard. Just let them know I'm transferring. And they had to, I forgot the word or what it was called honestly, but they had to sign a paper that my other coach sent or they sent to them, something like that. Like they just co-signed it and like, all right, all good there. But the most difficult part, I would definitely say, was the transcripts. Yeah, that could definitely be tricky.
Yeah, and transferring too, when you're transferring from one college to another, isn't there like you have to make a request to your coach, your athletic director, before you can even like reach out and talk to other schools?
Exactly. So that's what it was. So between me and you, I hope I don't get in trouble, but like I literally like was in talks with other coaches while still being on the other team roster, but I didn't do anything that I think could like penalize me until I got out of it. So when I talked to Ben, the coach and the athletic director, that I let him know that I was transferring, I basically just said, like what you just said, that they have to like sign off something or request something from the NAI or from them. And I didn't worry about it. They did that, and within a week they signed it off, and it said, you should be good. You can continue more talks, and just best of luck.
Yeah, that's something interesting because I haven't heard of it happening, but I mean, I'm guessing if coach or athletic director said no, you're staying, you just couldn't transfer or something, or you'd have to drop out. But so with transferring, has it been something that's been stressful for you, or is it more exciting? And with this new team, new season, obviously with COVID, who knows how it's going to work, all that stuff. But what am I trying to say? Yeah, just with the transfer process and all that, how did it differ from going from high school to college versus from one school to another, where you're a lot more confident, like reaching out to coaches and felt more confident just your ability to get it done? What did you think were the main differences in
Yeah.
those processes?
So definitely coming out of high school, right? It's a little nerve-wracking. Like you don't know if you're going to be good enough, if a coach is going to be interested in what he sees, film or CV-wise, resume-wise, because there's so many other kids trying to do exactly what you're doing. So I would say coming out of high school, if you're a very positive person and like you think you're good enough, then it shouldn't be that nerve-wracking. Like you know you're good enough and just believe in yourself, then hopefully the rest pans out. But definitely coming out of college, transfer to another college. I mean, you've now played your freshman season too. You can tell from high school, or like club level and college level, how much faster, more physical the game is, right? So coming out of freshman year of college, going to transferring to another college, you definitely know the speed and the physicality of the game, but also you have way more experience. So I would definitely say it's less nerve wracking. Like you know where you stand at, and hopefully the coaches see that too.
Yeah, that's something that's interesting because even if you like I went to a few camps, played and trained with some other college soccer players, and even before, like a year before I actually went off to college, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm that far behind. I feel like I can really fit in at this level. But there's still that, like, going into your freshman year, even if you've like really trained with the team or played with them or things like that, there's still that, like, what is it actually going to be like when we're for real, like training and playing, in that sense of like just not knowing. But like we're the same age now and having that season. I mean, you're going to be at two different teams, I'm guessing two different conferences, but still the same
Yeah.
division. And then you just have more of that confidence, at least on the playing side of things. Like, okay, I have an idea. I can watch my film. I can, just mentally think about where I was. And I think that's something that transferring, in some ways, a lot harder, a lot more complicated, and politics and things like that involved. But another way too, it can be good for you if you know, like some players will go to a lower division or a JUCO, then they build up that confidence. So like, okay, I'm good enough. I can go to this higher level, or just going to a different team at the same level. You built up that like confidence and experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I know we talked about it a little bit, but also I think I don't think any of other I don't think any of the other players I've interviewed so far have actually like played a season or more in NAIA. So we talked about it a little bit, and again, your experience is different because you're at a brand new school. But as far as playing in NAIA, what were some of the things, if you could tell or have heard from other players, that would differ from the NCAA, maybe as far as the season setup, scheduling, the week-to-week competition? Is there a tournament style to end it, playoffs, things like that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first thing I would say is obviously don't count out NAIA. Obviously, the dream is to go NCAA, whatever level that is, but definitely don't count it out. Like it's very competitive. Um, in spite of the other things, yeah, you have a tournament, you have playoffs, you have even nationals in NAIA as well. So that's always something to look forward to. I remember I was watching one of your videos that your games were on Fridays and Saturdays, or Fridays and Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, actually, all my games were like literally on every other day but those days. So I would be missing a lot of class Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever day it was. Games ranged from all the way from 8 p.m. to 12 in the afternoon. So it's very different from, I guess I would say, D3. I actually have another friend that plays D1 here locally, and I would say that's very different as well. Obviously, I can't get like too much into detail just because I don't know about too much detail about that. But it is different. I mean, but at the same time, you have something to play for. So obviously, during the COVID, like everything that's happening right now, I don't know about you or anyone else in the NCAA what's going on. But basically, with the NAIA, we got the green light, but that's still stopping some teams. So, for example, we had a game in Dallas. I forgot when, but basically the AD, even though the NAIA gave the green light, their athletic director canceled all fall sports. So that game they're gone. Like, we don't have that game anymore. So at this rate, we're just really hoping that other teams don't do that. You get me? Because we still want to play our season. So it all goes well, and we do play our season. like I said, yeah, there's playoffs, but playoffs is kind of like the conference tournament at the same time, if that makes sense. So the cool thing about my conference is it's a conference made out of independent teams. So there's literally my team in Oklahoma, and I think the farthest team is actually like out in Georgia or in Florida that are in a conference. So obviously you can't play those teams, right? But the cool thing about the conference is that, okay, how can I explain this? So let's say there's 14 teams to 20 teams in this conference, right? Because they're all independent. They schedule games versus other NAIA teams in other conferences. And then due to coronavirus, you can only pick 8 to 10 out of those games. But usually in a normal season, an 18-game season, you can pick 10 to 12. Yeah, 10 to 12. So what someone might be thinking is if your team is good enough to win 8 games in total, just submit those 8 games and you're 8-0. You get me your first seed. That's what I thought, right? But no, that's not how it works. So basically it works in... So, okay, let's take my schedule, for example. My schedule, I'm playing the same team twice, but they're the top 25 team in the nation. So if we were to win or draw versus them, and let's say we put that, right? We submit those games, and then we beat another team that's like top 3 in another conference, right? So let's say we got 5 wins, 3 ties, and 1 loss. Due to like the ranking of those teams and like their position in their conference, we're most likely to get the top seed rather than the team that just submitted 8 wins because they could be playing nobodies, if that makes sense. So that's how that works. And the top 4 teams make it and to a neutral site. And if you make it to the if you make it to the finals, you automatically punch a ticket into the NAIA Nationals, which is in Southern California, which is, I mean, surreal.
Yeah, that is a lot different. I know at least D3, I'm pretty sure they have NCAA as a whole, pretty much the whole thing structured similarly. But, like a lot of ours is based off conference play. We'll play our first 8 games, and we might play someone in our conference, but it doesn't count as a conference game. And it's kind of weird because unless you're really trying to get like that high seed in the tournament, I mean, it's almost like scrimmages at the end of the season because we play conference and then we have a conference tournament. If you win the conference tournament, you make the NCAA tournament no matter what. And the conference games are way more important. But we had I think we had 3 out of 10 teams in our conference make the NCAA tournament. And I think that was because overall they had a good record. And, but that is just something interesting, like how they place value on the conference games and the conference tournament. And then the NCAA tournament, I think they have their whole formula about difficulty of schedule, your record. Then they probably factor in goals scored, goals against, stuff like that as well for ranking you. But
yeah, I mean every division is going to be different, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to win if you want to make it. So that's ultimately the goal. You get me?
So, to kind of finish this off, close this off, for players wanting to play in college, just in general, someone like you just playing club or high school, and also like specifically NAIA, what would your best advice and tips be?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I know this is to close this off, but it might be a little longer than expected because, like, I want to. Yeah, I want to like just let the people know because, like I said earlier, everyone's college recruiting, college recruiting is going to be different. For me, in my case, like I said, never played varsity and barely had any film. And like I said, we went in late into it, like early senior year. So how I did it and what I did was basically just get raw YouTube clips of like from the league that we were playing in or from a parent that I don't know how, but somehow recorded our game. You get me? And just really watch the video and see where I did good. And then, just let these people know, hey, like minute 8 through 8:30, I did a 1-2 pass and crossed and assisted for a goal. You get me? Little things like that. So definitely, like, don't let like not having film or barely having film stop you. Like, you get me? Like, don't let that be an excuse. But obviously, if you're in the situation that you don't have film and you think you're good enough, definitely have a football CV resume. It goes a long way, especially if you want to do JUCO or like just local colleges, not too far. Because you could always, hopefully, if they're nice enough, respond first of all, but second of all, come out to one of your games and see what you got. See if your football CV is legit, back it up, all that. I actually, I didn't use that myself for UPSL, but I know people that did. Obviously, UPSL, there's a lot of local teams here in South Florida, in Central Florida. So you could, if you want, just take a drive and be like, hey, here's my football CV. If I don't have film, but yo, like, just give me a shot. And it really works. Like, it works. Like, he did amazing, and he got a spot on the team. And I know of another friend that I actually, like, convinced and encouraged him because I forgot what, like, the exact scenario was, but basically he didn't have film. No, sorry, that was my other friend. This friend did have film. So with the film he had, he literally, like, submitted it to a team a little bit farther, like an hour away, and it wasn't UPSL though, it was like PDL. So like I said, obviously having film is better, and like this just shows because it was like an hour and a half drive, so I don't know if like he's willing to make that drive, but at the end of the day, the email went a long way. The CV and the film backed it up, and he got a spot on the team after performing. So I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is, don't let not having a film, don't let not having a football CV like just stop you. Like, if you're determined for it, go for it. Like, worst thing that can happen is email wise they don't respond. Person, like face to face wise, is they say no. But then again, you have a 50-50 chance that they say yes or no. You get me? And I don't think they'll be that rude of you driving 30 minutes to an hour and just be like no right in front of your face. Like, you get me? Especially at the UPSL level, I'm pretty sure they always want someone that has experience like yourself, being, if you're in high school or being in college, right? Because that's the great thing about UPSL. You can play college and UPSL. I was actually going to ask you if you're planning on doing that, if there's any local teams UPSL-wise over there, if you're trying to do that, or because I'm going to try to do that because there's actually a decent amount in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I emailed a few last year. But didn't really get great responses, and that probably because I hadn't played a season in college yet. I told him like I'm signed, right, to. And then this year, spring break, I was like, I'm gonna email every team I can find out here in Arizona, and then all the COVID happened, so definitely something I'm gonna try to. And then next year, next summer, maybe even look to some teams in Texas because they have a lot more in Texas, UPSL, all that stuff. And
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No worries. That's pretty much what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, because not only is it like you have the opportunity to, like, if you're a collegiate athlete, you can also play UPSL. But even if you're in high school, like, just like take it to perspective. Like, UPSL, the great thing about it is that it doesn't interfere with your seasons. So if you're playing UPSL and whatever other level you're playing all year round compared to your friends that are taking it easy, chilling in like summer. You get me? And that's gonna pay off and show off when next year you're in high school or college. Like, all that UPSL experience is gonna make you a better player. Let's say you weren't happy with the minutes you got, I promise you're gonna be a starter if you were good enough to make it to UPSL and just grind in UPSL. And basically, like, just know that emails and face-to-face go a long way. Because emails, like, another little thing I wanted to, like, say out there, because maybe some people are in my same position, or even for the future, because I'm pretty sure, I mean, you want to go pro or, do something, stay in soccer. So basically, I know I told you, but I really wanted to let the people know, for those who are really hungry for it, right? So during coronavirus, especially during the most serious times that you couldn't go out or anything, I literally just Googled every English-speaking country in the world. If it was their main language or their second language, as long as me and him can communicate, we're good. But basically, I did that, and you would be surprised how many countries that speak English in this world. Um, and once I found out what countries they were, I would just put the country's name and football league system, and it literally gives you their Wikipedia, what division they're in, the club info, everything. So I can't even tell you how much emails I sent. If you thought NCSA was a lot, I definitely surpassed NCSA 200 emails. I sent so many. And like I said, if you're good enough, and fortunately you have a good CV, resume, and film, like I said, it does go a long way because I'm getting responses from a lot of UK teams, a team in Australia, a team in I think it was like Malta, like a little small island. Yeah, so like it's crazy, like to even think that like they thought I was good enough, or like they, are interested. So like I just want to point out that emails go a long way. Um, and I reached to the point, and I'm still in contact with the one from Australia because the league system over there is the A League, which is pro, and then their second division league, which is like the only other league is semi-pro. And basically, I just was talking to him, and like he brought up paying, and I was like, "Oh, you guys pay?" Like, so yeah, and like that was really cool. He's like, "Yeah, we pay 100 to 750 bucks per game, and we have a 20 to 30 game season. So you do the math. Like that's a good money for like a 19-year-old." So basically, I said like, "Yeah, let's stay in contact. Like I'm gonna do this year in college. Focus on myself. Hopefully, be able to do better and send you better film." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. 2021, 2022 season. I'm looking for overseas, not overseas. Well, for them, yeah, considered overseas players. So that he's looking for players like that from outside of Australia. And if it's good enough and he likes what he sees, like I could possibly get a trial, which is like, just mind blowing to me. Like that's all the way in the other side of the world. And just to show how long like an email went. You get me? Like, so definitely like just don't put your head down. Like don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Like focus on you. If you think you're good enough, just do you. And if you're fortunate enough to have the things I just said, go for it.
Yeah, it's really, when you brought up Malta, that was interesting because the high school coach now, he wasn't coaching me back then, but just season after I graduated, he started coaching here. And over winter break, I helped coach like my high school team, and I worked with him. And he actually lived in Malta for a while, and his son played for a Maltese academy. And
That's dope.
And that's how he started actually like getting into soccer and coaching soccer. And one of the guys that took over like the academy, he played in like the Premier League, and he was like a big for Blackpool back in the day. And then so that was interesting too. Like he brought that up. I don't want to get too much into that, but I just really thought it was a good point, like you said with the emails too. Email, you never know how long it can go, and I get a lot of players or people like, well, I don't have a highlight film, or I don't have this. Should I still email coaches, or do I have a shot? And it's like, reaching out is always better than not reaching out. And then, like you said, when you go up in person, it's way harder to tell someone no when they're like in your face. Like I drove here 30 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, whatever to get here. And you're already there. If you're ready to play or train with them, that's, I've heard a lot of players say, I emailed, didn't get responses. I started showing up in person. And it's really hard to refuse somebody when they're that dedicated.
Yeah.
So, you want to go to events like the tournament you talked about in Colombia, build up your resume that way. And you want to play for a good team, good club. You want to have the ideal recruiting process. But still, if that's what you want to do, go for it, whether you have the film or not, whether you have a great resume experience or not. Reach out. You never know who might give you a chance or an opportunity. And you just got to take them as you get them. And like you said, you never know how far an email, phone call, showing up in person can really go. So if that's what you're serious about, just go for it. You want to have the ideal recruiting process. You want to have all the tools, do everything right, but that's really how it works for most of us.
Yeah, 100%. Like, another little thing that I didn't say, but should be common sense is if you're like a sophomore in high school, don't do that. But like, you get me? Like, if you're senior and you think you're good enough, you have like UPSL experience under your belt or whatever it is, obviously try and do what I did. If that's the overseas thing is for you. If not, obviously stay in your country. I mean, when we compare the United States to a lot of like overseas countries, I mean, to be realistic, the football level, the soccer level over there is better. But we're getting there. We're getting there. I can't lie. But, you know, if the overseas thing isn't for you, even better. Just stay in your country, stay motivated, stay positive, stay focused on everything. And I'm pretty sure you'll work your way out. Like, who knows? Maybe, you know, started UPSL and a couple years, USL, MLS. Like, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Just so many people, I think, you know, they get in this mindset like, well, I don't train with the best team. I don't have the best highlight video. I don't have the best experience, or I'm from this country or whatever. And just think of, especially soccer, something that's kind of overwhelming about it is that there's so many opportunities. You can end up literally just about any country in the world. But at the same time, it's a lot better for us because players that want to go like play in the NFL, it's like, oh, I got to be super good in high school. I got to be super good in college and then get drafted. And if you don't get drafted, your chances of actually playing the NFL is super way lower. But for soccer, you can be playing, you could be an absolute nobody in high school, and then all of a sudden you might be the one kid from your whole city that actually plays pro.
Yeah.
The best in high school, and then not even playing college or let alone pro. So just take advantage of your opportunities. They're not always, like, I think a big part of it is people think opportunities come to you, and really you got to go out and look for them, and then someone might give you the chance, open the door for you, but you just can't expect people to come to you, to call you, to email you. That's just not how it works, no matter how good you are, really.
Right. Exactly.
All right, so anything else you want to add before you go?
I mean, nah, nothing else. Honestly, thank you for having me on the live. It was great talking to you. You know, see the differences and but how at the end of the day, you know, we're all just hungry for the sport we love and how we want to play it and all that. So nothing, bro. I mean, I just wish you the best, your luck on your season. Hopefully, if it doesn't get canceled, I mean, I don't know what the situation for you is, but pretty sure if it does, it'll get canceled for everyone and get moved to spring, you know? So, I mean, just best of luck to you and keep killing it on YouTube, man. Like, I really do enjoy it, you know? So,
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, thank you for taking your time to talk with us, too. I think it's a good one for people to watch. If you want to play pro, want to play professional, especially if you want to play NAIA, to hear someone that's actually played NAIA and is transferring to another NAIA school. Yeah. And like I said, hopefully we can play this fall, you know, get things worked out, have a good season still. So I wish you good luck with that too as your new school, and hopefully get it all figured out. But guys, if you're watching after the fact on my IGTV or when this is on my YouTube channel, you can comment down your questions if you have any for me or him. We'll answer those for you. But thanks to everyone who watched. Thanks again to you for joining me, sharing your story, sharing your advice, experiences. Hopefully people can learn something from this or just hear an interesting, inspiring story and take something positive away from it.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Like I said, thank you for having me, and for sure, if there's any questions, like, I'll answer. I don't mind. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just keep killing it, and hopefully our seasons go as planned. That's it.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
You too, man.
Ciao.
Later.